Hey guys, DFA here, welcome back to the channel, and today we're going to do something a little bit different. I'm going to show you how I actually make videos, because that's something that I've actually never done. I've been making videos for the last 2.5 years, more than 100 of them. I stopped counting a long time ago on the channel, but I've never explained how I do it, so let's take a look at it right now. Essentially what you are seeing here, it's my local drive on my laptop, and you do have a number of elements. So for example, voila, there is the Toulon video which was published last week, and I'm going to use it as a showcase. But there are also other videos here, for example, content that I'm currently collecting, or that I stopped collecting and I still have to turn into a video. For example, next week you will get the Tech 3 review of the Soviet line, and this is the footage I will be using. So I typically select gameplays that are not necessarily the best ones around, but that have some kind of a message and that show a sequence or a playbook or something that's actually interesting. So you will be seeing that next week, and this one for Chapayev was, I thought, a very good illustration on how to play that thing, how to position, etc. So it doesn't have to be a good game, but it has to bring an interesting message. That's how I select it. And typically what I do is I'm kind of systematic. I tend to keep a lot of footage, not necessarily knowing what I will do with it immediately, but something that I can maybe review or reuse later on. And for example, I will work on the Normandy at some point. That's kind of footage as well for that. Let's take a look at the Toulon one. I think I already have it open. Yes, I have it open. And when you look at it, now it was here. When you look at it, you see that in the folder you have like something like, again, 10 gameplays, something like that. And they all had something interesting, and I had to review every single one of them before making the video, because I made 2 videos, a short one, which was 1 minute, and the guide, which was around 11 minutes. You also have the images that I used as a thumbnail for the video. So a couple of things here that you can, that you have to prepare as well. And when you look at the video, this is the video editor I'm currently using. It's called VideoPad Professional by NCH Software. Don't ask me if it's the best one, I don't know. I just googled for a video editor and this one came on top. Now I'm gotten used to it, and I've been using this from the beginning, so voila, it's okay. It's okay for what I do. And you see that it's working with tracks. So here we have 3 video tracks. For example, the first one, it's the introduction to the Toulon vid. If I press play, you have the track here and the footage that's being shown above. Then we have the stats section, and which is essentially a screen recording of my stats sheet. And then we have the actual gameplay, and you have the gameplay here, you have the sound associated to it. And this is actually my voice. This is the voiceover, the commentary over the video. Voila. And every time you have a cut here, it means that I had to cut the sequence, interrupt it, record something else. Simply pause in the recording, because I don't have detailed scripts for each videos anymore. I used to do that in the beginning, but that was way too complicated. It took way too much time. And now I'm just recording on the fly, but I do have a list of talking points that I want to develop during a video. So to put things in perspective, making something like that, it's around between 2 and 3 hours. It takes a lot of time because you have to review your footage, you have to think about the talking points that you want to have, you want to essentially prepare everything that you are going to say, and yeah, make sure that you don't forget anything. So it takes a bit of preparation as well. And if you look at the short, wait, I'm going to record this. Voila, up. If you look at the short, this is actually even worse. So for the love of God, do not assume that because a video is shorter, it's 1 minute, it will be done faster. It's actually the opposite. That was also something like 2 or 3 hours of work. Simply because if you look at the amounts of cuts that you have on that video, it's absolutely insane. So you have it, it's only 1 minute, literally 1 minute, but it's essentially 4 gameplays, if I'm not mistaken, crammed into, or 3 gameplays crammed into 1, and you actually have to do a lot of transition management. If I play it, for example, cutting the sound, voila. You see, boom, transition, 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 transition. So the cruiser shoots down the Colorado, boom, transition to the spotting of the CV, transition to the first salvo, transition to the hits, and essentially transition to the end of the battle. And so you have to cut the sequence in a way that it's actually still telling a story, except that you are telling a story in 10 seconds instead of a 7 minutes gameplay. And that's exactly what I do for the rest of the video. So such a short like that, it's an insane amount of work as well. But I really do enjoy doing these. And then you have the music to fine tune as well according to what's happening on the video. So a lot of fun, a lot of work as well. The second part of the too long vid was actually the stats sheet, and that's nothing new if you've been watching this channel before. I do make use of a lot of statistics into the game. And I've explained maybe 1 or 2 years ago how I do it, so I'm going to explain it again. For example, that is the tier 8 battleships sheet, and you see that every battleship here, or some of them, not all of them, I'm currently retesting them all, they have an amount of damage that they take, a percentage of armor, that's the amount of damage that they actually take or do not mitigate, and a survivability index. They also have an accuracy rating and an effective damage rating. So what I do to get that is I actually get into a training room with the, that's this one, so with my press account and 1 or my 2 personal accounts, and I essentially test it here. For example, I tested the Brandenburg and the Tirpitz at 12 kilometers against an Alabama, and you see, for example, the Tirpitz, the last 4 salvos. First one, 8 shots fired, 5 hits, 6 hits, 4 and 5, average accuracy around 63%, so the total for the ship was a little bit more. And the Brandenburg accuracy was a lot lower. And when you compile all of these together, so, sorry for that, currently retesting the tier 8s at the moment, that's how you get the accuracy figure. So Bismarck and Tirpitz, for example, perfectly identical, so that's a coincidence, but you see that's around 200 shells recorded. I typically record around 200-300 shots per ship to test it, also for the damage, and I must have something like data for like maybe 60,000 hits and bombs for in the file. So yeah, that's quite a lot of work, and yeah, so if you think that the video is actually only the visible part of the iceberg, and when you look, for example, at the conclusions here, that's the damage sheet, so I'm keeping track of the damage per shot, the number of citadels at modules in a session, etc., etc. And you see that the Bismarck is hitting the Alabama for an average of 966 per shot, while the Tirpitz is only hitting in for 918, so that's a little bit lower, maybe 5% lower. And the same goes for the damage. The Alabama is hitting the Bismarck on average for 966, that's a coincidence, but it's hitting the Tirpitz for almost 1100, so the Tirpitz takes a lot more damage per shell than the Bismarck. So yeah, that's how I get to those armor values and those damage values that you're actually seeing in the stat sheet. So yeah, that's a ton of work as well, but I think it's pretty useful information for you, and that's why I keep investing the time to do that. So expect the tier 8s to be completed by the end of the month. The 10s are already done, and the 9s are well in progress. And I think that was it for the videos and the stats. Now, what do you actually do once you have a clip? Well, you actually upload it onto the channel. So how do you do that? It's not that complicated. I simply go to my own channel. This is a public page, by the way. and I can create some content. And essentially what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how it works. It's super easy. You select a file. Voila, let's go to the Toulon one, for example. Let's create a dummy one. Toulon is here. And let's upload the short intro, which is 1 minute, so it's going to be fast. And there you go, it's asking me for a title and the description, and those are the two fields on which you want to focus your attention, because those are the ones picked up by the YouTube search engine. So you want to make sure that the name of your ship is appearing there and that criteria will actually be useful to find your video. Now, once you've appeared in the, how would you say it, in the list of results on YouTube, then you need to have a nice thumbnail to actually give the incentive to people to click on your video. And yeah, that's why I also spend a bit of time doing that as well. A couple of other criteria. Monetization. I typically use the default parameters of YouTube, which means I deactivate videos, ads during the video, not before and not after. And I also give you the option to skip them or not. So essentially I'm using the default parameters here. I'm going to switch it off for the purpose of that video. And then the rest, subtitles, etc. I'm not necessarily using these a lot because YouTube, for all its intelligence, seems to think that I'm speaking German. So it tends to automatically put subtitles in German for my vid. I could have lived if the AI of YouTube has defined by accent as French, but German, that's a bit surprising, to be honest. I've never heard that. So there you go. That's why you don't have subtitles in most of my vids. Sometimes he recognizes me as a native English speaker and provides auto subtitles in English, which are usually quite good, but most of the time it's German, and yeah, it's not very, very good, to be honest. And once it's done, it's uploaded. You see 13 seconds left. I can either keep it unlisted, so it's not visible to you, but I do have a link that I can share. And I typically share that on my Discord to the people that are helping me with the video, so Tommy, Captain Quill, and DSV, so they can provide feedback and sometimes we make corrections. And if I click on public, it means you can see it as well. So there you go. I'm not going to save this one. I'm going to exit it this way because I have something else I want to show you. And that's the dashboard and the analytics part, because the YouTube gives a lot of options to content creator. And so that's the main dashboard with the news in YouTube, etc., IDs, my current subscriber count, basic statistics. So for example, my top videos, you see that the Toulon one published 6 days ago is 5th over the last 10 videos by the number of views, so that's actually pretty decent. And when you take a look at the analytics, essentially you see the last 28 days of the channel. You can change that, of course. You can see that I had 7,000 views over the last month, 35 subscribers more, and I have made an estimated 10 euros. So when you see commentaries about YouTubers making millions, I'm not even making thousands of cents per month. Yeah, because that's pre-tax, obviously. So you have to pay taxes on that as well. What's interesting is you see, for example, the views here. You can see that, for example, voila, I released the Tier 8 tier maker with Slay. 2 videos on that week, on September 19, and got a spike to 600 views on that day. And if you look at it per subscriber, actually, on the second part, I had 5 subscribers on September 21, and then on September 28, I lost a subscriber. Probably someone did not like the teaser of the Toulon video, but after Toulon again. So yeah, voilà. You can see the evolution, and the tools are actually very, very nice. I don't use them too often, to be honest. I don't pay too much attention to it. What I'm mostly looking at is the impression, so that's the impact of how well I fit into the search engine of YouTube. So that's the amount of time that my thumbnails are actually presented to an audience who may or may not be looking for my content. And then the click-through rate at 5%, which is the amount of time that someone actually clicks on that beautiful thumbnail. But for the rest, it's not super useful, and I'm not going too mad or too wild about it, to be honest. I think I've actually said everything. I've shown you videos, I've shown you the short, how I make the montages, how I get the values from the stats, given you an idea of the complexity behind it and the insane amount of work that's actually behind the video. Keep in mind that we have to play the game on top of that to actually get the content. Well, basically that's it. So if you have any questions, any ideas, whatever, just drop them in the comment section down below. If you liked that kind of content, let me know. I'm happy to get your feedback as well. And my face is not going to appear here every single day, but it's simply because of the format of the video. I'm able to use my webcam. So there you go. That's enough of me for today. Stay safe, take care. That was DFA. Signing out. See you next week for the review of the Tech 3 Soviet cruisers.